All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is your favorite warlock here, practicing necromancer. Today, I want to talk to you about solitude and the need for reflection. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been applying some philosophies that I haven't really thought about in a while until I saw a video put forth by Bokor Leonard Elmera. And I delved back into them and I started applying them to my life. Again, this is something that was really, really needed. Knowing your personal rights and what happens when you choose to enforce them. Okay? Basically, picking your battlegrounds. So, over the last couple of weeks, a coworker of mine, my teacher within Voodoo from Ghana and Nigeria, Voodoo. He's a coworker, a friend, and we have a lot in common when it comes to religion, but we don't really associate outside of work. And what's interesting about this is the more you apply the morals, the creeds to your life, the more you practice discipline, focus, commitment, and dedication to your journey, to your path, you're going to find yourself more and more secluded, becoming the hermit. It's not one being forced upon you. No, it's not even a necessity. The world is designed to keep you down, to keep you looking as a slave to the system. As I said in my last video, the finances aspect, if you actually thought about how to plan it out and to apply it to your life, taking action. You know, the 48 laws of power says win by actions, not through arguing. Okay? Marcus Aurelius, in his book Meditations, said that if anything is possible for one man, it too is possible for you. Interesting how that plays out, isn't it? So the last couple of weeks while my friend and teacher was on vacation, he went home to Africa. I was working with the chef of the facility, and I don't know what went down. I don't know what changed within me. Maybe it's because I've been working with Cthulhu, the old one. Maybe it's because I've been spending a lot of time focusing on the research, the studies, and the practices of necromancy. Or perhaps I've been spending a little too much time with family. I don't know. Um, but I found myself just the other day standing over by where my station is and where I do a majority of my job as a dietary aide. And I'm watching everybody, the chefs, the main chef, the chefs, and the other dietary aides just sitting there talking and laughing, having a good time, watching the RAs, the resident assistants, basically CNA type stuff for those of you who don't know, socializing with themselves, management socializing with themselves, segregation, if you will, different classes within the workplace. And I just stood there and was watching, observing different hormonal tones within their characters, the way they speak, the way they present themselves. Like, you have an RA that will come in to the kitchen and she'll talk normal, and then all of a sudden she will raise that hormonal tone and say, I need this with this, and without this. And it's kind of like being a parent if you think about it, because as a parent, women and children are idolized. They're spoiled rotten, if you will. And the cold, hard truth is that the man never gets credit. The man never gets the credit. He's not even recognized. And I got to thinking about this aspect in this application, how things are being offered one day and then it's completely the opposite the following day, knowing that the lie is there. You know what I'm saying? The lie is there. Like my chef, the chef for the kitchen offered me a different job 2 days a week. And then the very next day, you know that the upper management has not been there because it's the weekend. They don't work the weekends. And yet he'll tell you, oh, I'm getting pressure about so and so from another division that fills in here. You don't know. You don't know. I was talking with my apprentice last night, and he was helping me set up an account for investing for beginners, how to do it, what to do. And we spent like an hour or so on two different apps that I had downloaded, and it was just gone. They were no good. So he sent me the link to this other one and walked me through it. And it was interesting because I'm thinking about the finances at work, how this chef is constantly coming to me and telling me the prices. We got to cut back on this. But yet the RA will sit there and tell you, well, you can't deny this to this person because they are on hospice. So that means the chef is in violation of the legal system. So there's always that system in place for excuses, for the lies to pile up. And it's the left hand not talking to the right hand. The right hand is not talking to the left hand. And they're always right there in the center. Somebody's in the center watching both things, but doesn't want to get their hands dirty. And it's interesting because I realized Saturday, I don't want this anymore. I don't want this anymore. I don't want to be a dietary aid for the rest of my life. And I'm reminded of a site, a group that I'm affiliated with. And the moral code is, are you ready to take your own destiny into your own hands? So I start psychology on the 24th, online courses. And then I go right into thanatology. But I've realized the more I learn, the more I study, the more I practice, year by year, there is more discipline. There's more responsibility, more commitment. And as a archbishop, an ordained archbishop, I'm finding that that cold grip of the fiend, the reaper, is removing all these distractions one by one. And I'm looking at where my intent is focused. I don't have many friends. I don't have many friends because of what I practice. This is reality. The educational process here shows you that when you become enlightened, the more you become enlightened, the more that you grow and mature within your practice, the further away you become from society. Go back in history. The Witch of Endor, the Dukan, the Brua or Bruo, the Bokor, the Capilata, the witch, the warlock, the shaman, the necromancer, even the wizard. Does not matter if it's the Hexa, the Strega, the Yaji, or the Yeshi in the old tongues. The mythos is still there, the folklore is still there. And it's seen within one of two aspects. First, they're highly respected and popularized. So their tents or their huts, especially within the Aji or the Yeshi, African-based traditions, are right next to the village king. They're highly feared, highly sought after. Even my own teacher said, and I quote, once you've proven your sorcery, you've got it made. You have it made because you've proven what you're capable of doing. I'm not talking forcing your will on others. Saying, I'm not telling you or meaning or applying that you have to go out and bully people into submission. No. I'm talking knowledge, wisdom, growth, personal evolution. This is where you are separating from herd conformity, society's dogmatic systems. You are literally pulling away. And I realized I've been doing this over the last 5 years. The last 5 years since I left Satanism behind and became a necromancer full time. I've noticed that people are just staying away from me. And it's a good thing. It really is because that means that you're doing something right and they can't stand it. They don't know how to handle it. I've had enemies attack me. I could give those enemies, recognition if I wanted to. But why would I want to? 48 Laws of Power, for an example, says to stay away from the unhappy and the unlucky. My own apprentice has said, I'm happy now. It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years, and he's happier than he ever was. The enlightenment, people just don't know, he says. And it's true. Populists will never understand because they're not ready to take that destiny into their own hands, to make the system work for them and not for others. You can go to work and work for that paycheck, falling into those routines. But it doesn't matter if you're into magic, sorcery, necromancy, Zentet, spiritualism, or even, just wanting to run your own business. Anton LaVey said, knowledge is power, and true power is undefiled wisdom. Now look at your life. How much of that dogma, that duality, surrounds your life? How much of it rules the roost, so to speak? When things happen to you, do you fly off the hinges and get pissed off and become emotionally unbalanced? You see, that's what I mean by ruling the roost. Emotion is good, it helps you process things. But through reflection and contemplation, solitude will allow you to listen to that inner voice. Third eye. It's gotten to the point where I can't even tell the difference if I'm talking to the living or the dead. Residents are constantly touching my tattoos and asking me what do they mean. I don't give them the answers that they're seeking because they don't need to know. All they need to know is that it's spiritual. It's tribal. Nothing more. Nothing less. Sometimes saying less is better. But at the same time, when you take your destiny into your own hands, you literally become a hermit because people don't want to be around you. They'll call you weird. They'll call you a monster, a devil worshiper, whatever. It's called self empowerment. It's called self mastery. And like I said in past videos, I look at where I was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, to where my family and I are today. there have been changes, but those changes don't mean a step back in defeat. Sometimes you have to lose a battle to win the war, okay? Sometimes you have to lose a battle so that you can win that war. Julius Caesar was renowned for pulling his center back in the heat of battle, in the pivotal moments of battle, the height of battle. He would suddenly just call for a retreat, and that center would start falling back. And the opponent, the enemy, seeing that, would rush in foolishly and stupidly to their own defeat. Because once they get in there and they start dividing and they see, hey, we're winning, we've divided them into two. We've broken that arrow. Let's keep on going. And then all of a sudden reality hits. The center had fallen back. The trap. That is the trap. You fall for that. Just like you do with financial hindrances, or that of, say, a sudden job loss, or that of a opportunity for a greater advancement in a company. But here's the kicker. Look out for those wings, those sides that you have got on either your left and your right, because they may just enclose and encircle you, cutting you off from everyone else. The trap, the illusion of advancement is a test of your ingenuity, your creation, your resolve. But most importantly, it is a test of your observations. How far have you come in your path? Because each year you have a greater responsibility, more discipline, more commitments that you have to apply. As of the 5th of October of this year, 2022, I have been working as a dietary aide for exactly 1 year. Exactly 1 year. During the last 6 years, I've gone through, this is my fourth vehicle in 4 years. In 6 years. 6 years, rather. I apologize. But 6 years. Four vehicles. One of which only lasted about 6 months, but it's at the stage for something greater. Yes, it puts you in debt. But you look at that debt and what it's doing. You may think you're drowning in debt, but in reality, by paying all that back to the bank who bought out your vehicle, it's helping your credit score. It's helping you manage your finances. It is helping you with your family's transportation and a what the world classifies as a safe means of transportation. Safety. That's what they frown on. And that's what they obsess over these days. So I want you to think about solitude. What happens when you become isolated? Is it a sign of defeat or is it an opportunity for you to grow? Every time I look at this as a solitary moment, it's not defeat. People come and go from your life. It's a fact of nature. So don't even pay attention to that BS, in my opinion. Don't That's all it is. It's a distraction. Focus on you. Focus on your family. Take your destiny in your own hands. And don't look at it as a defeat, but an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to evolve. The realization that I had Saturday morning at work was this moment. It was a moment of clarity. I run 99% of the kitchen. Just me. The chefs just mix food together, cook it, and they think it's the end of the world. They're pampered. They don't know what it's like to have to fight. They don't know what it's like to have to wage war, either as guerrilla warfare, 33 strategies of warfare, for an example. They don't know what it's like to be, excuse the language, but the dish bitch, if you will. That's what we call dishwashers. But if you look at that's just a small portion of what a dietary aid does. A dietary aid literally preps the food. They get everything going. They make sure the residents and the staff have what they need. You're running 99% of that kitchen. You, you are the god of that domain, not them. Let them bow down and kiss your ass. And if they want to start shit, then bring in their past wrongdoings and then bring in the penal codes, the laws, and watch how fast those asshats decide to back the fuck off. You see, for 5 months, I was singled out by the RAs, by the residents, assistants, even the upper management. One of them's no longer there, but the other one that was there throughout all of this didn't want to get her hands dirty. So I waited for the right time, in front of the new head of the facility. And that is when I laid into her past. I brought up her past with this other ASM, this, what do they refer to them as? AFFs, assistant facility faculty members, basically. And then I brought in the legal laws, from the Constitution to federal laws, who I can go to and shove it up their ass so far that not even ointment is going to help them. And I haven't been attacked since. It has been about a month and a half to 2 months now. Evolution, growth. Solitary is a very good thing. When I go into my temple or I go to a graveyard, I go out walking at night, I see a world that is corrupt. It's designed to keep you as a slave. I see that black earth with the reaper's grip, trying to swallow it whole. Society is a dying breed. It is a cesspool of lies, duality, hypocrisy, and drama. Things that you don't need in your life. Best thing I ever did was just step away from it. Just say, I wash my hands of you. I got rid of my Facebook account. I got rid of my Instagram account. I got rid of my Timber account. I still have TikTok and my YouTube and Odyssey. But the TikTok I find kind of amusing. So you find a lot of Comedy Central on there, but you also see the latest trends and fads that people do. And as somebody that studies death and dying from a thanatologist perspective, the psychological aspects of it, it's enlightening to view, especially now that you've been removed from that populace, that encampment of segregation and duality. And it makes you grateful that you're no longer a part of it. Grateful. Because now your energy can be applied elsewhere, such as learning herbalism, alchemy. After all these years, I finally delved into hermeneutics. Hermeneutics. And I've studied the Tree of Da'ath, I've studied the Kabbalah, but never actually applied hermeneutics to my life. I've never actually practiced it. I've studied it, but not actually applied it. As a Satanist, it's more about power, it's more about dominance, being that alpha predator, so to speak. But as a necromancer, you get to work with all kinds of spirits. Lately, like I said, I've been over the last couple month or two, I've been working with Cthulhu, my patrons and patronesses, and Santa Morte. And I've added another asset to my collective, Pazuzu. Pazuzu. And I'm beginning to understand the investment aspects because as a brand new investor, I've realized that what the rich do is they keep collecting assets. They're not liquidating, which is why they're taxed so little. Think of those on Social Security income or SSDI, Social Security Disability, so to speak. From a healthcare perspective, that makes you society's burden. Their taxes go to you. But yet you have to deal with the other hand, which is constant duality, drama, and conflict with the Social Security Administration. Trust me, I've heard all the stories. Nothing surprises me with that group, especially since they're known and renowned for creating fraud, perjury, and extortion. So that does not surprise me. And I've got a cat that suddenly wants to be on my lap and wants attention. One of the four. But here it is, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to think about this. What is it that matters to you? What is your goal and what is your aim? And through solitude, how can you achieve it? What creeds apply to you? And how can you make the money in the system work for you? Guess what? As Marcus Aurelius so colorfully put it, what is possible for one man is too possible for you. Step up or step down. Either way, Own that shit. Back up what you preach with numerous sources and always make yourself available to the public. Have a good day.